Hello everybody, Boodlyneck here. It's time for another Mods of the Week. Today's shout out goes to Aries. Thank you so much. Those are some very kind words. I'm glad you're enjoying the channel. I hope you enjoy this episode, and thank you so much for watching, commenting, and subscribing. Like always, we have 10 fantastic mods to go over. Let's get to them. Anthill Inside introduces a new creative way to automate things in Minecraft. You have a small chance of getting a red ant hive when you mine redstone ore. Using these ant hives, you can automate crafting, cooking, smelting, composting, and item transfer. This mod doesn't really have any documentation, but you should be able to figure things out using the tooltips provided in the GUI. The hives also slowly breed red ants that you can use to create paths to move items. Or if you leave these ants inside of the hives perform their tasks faster. If you want it to go even faster, you can add red sugar, which will speed up the hive's work and growth speed even more. I really love this new approach that the developer took at automation. They've stayed away from technology and made this a little more organic and honestly a little more vanilla. Cat Jammies is a very simple mod that allows cats to jam to music like parrots do. When you play music in a jukebox near a cat, they'll bob their heads to the music, which is great. What's even better though is the more music there is, the harder they'll jam, which is amazing. I think this mod has just made it into the list of mods that everyone should have. Alaska Native Craft adds mobs, tools, weapons, armor, and transportation, all based around Alaskan native cultures. Starting with the mobs, this adds seals that spawn in ocean and river biomes, and they spend their time hunting fish. Ptarmigans are pretty much a fluffy white version of parrots that like cold areas. They can be tamed with seeds right on your shoulder and even dance to music just like a parrot. And the final mob added is the moose. These can be found in cold areas and you can see signs of them on trees when they've been nearby. These guys like to scrape the bark from trees with their antlers. These things are massive and they drop leather and raw venison, which can be used for a couple different food items. You can make venison steaks by cooking them, or you can mix it with berries in a bowl to get akutak, which gives a random benefit for a little bit based on the number of berries that you add. And speaking of berries, this mod adds 4 new berries: blueberries, cloudberries, raspberries, and salmon berries, and these can all only spawn in snowy and taiga biomes. Next, we have dog sleds, which are a new transportation option. These are much faster on snow and ice, and they have a chest on board, which is always nice. There's some decorative armor and a claw-like tool called an ulu that's good at breaking the same blocks as shears. But I think my favorite part of this mod are the harpoons, which are pretty much craftable tridents that float on water rather than sink to the bottom. And you can also attach a lead to a harpoon using an anvil, and then you can leash mobs from far away. Very cool. Lootbeams is a pretty simple mod that adds some particle effects above items based on their tooltip color. It works on all items, vanilla and modded. I created a couple custom items to make sure it would work okay with modded items, and it seems to work just fine. This reminds me of a lot of ARPG, hack and slash type games. It's a cool way to make more valuable items stand out, seem more important, and harder to miss when you're picking up loot. MC Story Mode Armors brings 21 sets of armor from Minecraft Story Mode to Minecraft. These all look amazing, and most of them have to be found in chests. Except for Soren's Enderman suit, which you can craft that allows you to look at Endermen without aggroing them. This is much better than wearing a pumpkin on your head. Magical Lanterns allows you to create some new lanterns that give magical effects to the surrounding area. Currently, there are 10 new lanterns that you can craft using the Lantern Maker. You can get the recipe for all the new lanterns using the Lantern Codex. The Life Lantern applies regeneration to nearby entities and nearby crops grow faster. The Feral Lantern lights up a huge area by spawning sparks. It starts at the bottom of the world and works its way up. Each Feral Lantern has a maximum of 100 sparks. This is a very cool way to light up caves in your world. The Love Lantern makes nearby mobs fall in love. The Wailing Lantern screams if you get too close and applies the nausea effect. The Boreal Lantern slows nearby entities. The Brilliant Lantern turns nearby mobs directly into XP. The Warding Lantern pushes all nearby living entities away except for players. And the Containment Lantern is pretty much exactly the opposite. It keeps all nearby entities close in a confined area except for players. The Withering Lantern applies the wither effect around it, and the Cloud Lantern applies the slow fall effect around it. More respawn anchors adds a new netherite variant of the respawn anchor that can store triple the charges. It also adds an end respawn anchor with a netherite version of that one, and you charge that with ender pearls. If you pair the end respawn anchor with some other end enhancing mods, this can make for an interesting end survival world. Recast is a very simple mod that aims to make fishing a little less cumbersome while not breaking the game. With this mod installed, when you catch a fish or item, you automatically recast your line, speeding up the process of fishing just a little bit. And if you right-click while not catching something, it stops the fishing action just like normal. Relics is a small mod that adds some creative and useful relics you can find in chests throughout your world. These are all very cool, but I'm just going to go over some of my favorites very quickly. The spatial sign allows you to mark a spot in the world to be teleported back to after 30 seconds. If you take fatal damage while you have a stored location in the sign, your life will be saved and you'll teleport back to the saved location, but your relic will be destroyed. The reflection necklace accumulates charges that can reflect projectiles and incoming damage. Magma Walker temporarily turns lava into magma under your feet and removes all damage from hot blocks. The Scarab Talisman increases movement speed and step height while you're on sand and increases sand breaking speed. It also prevents you from taking suffocation damage from all blocks. The Stellar Catalyst gives a chance to summon a falling star when you attack mobs. The Rage Gloves increase the damage that you deal and take from a target for each attack during the same battle. Ice Skates increase your movement speed and give the ability to ram mobs when you're on ice. And if you're moving fast enough, it'll give you Frostwalker. With the Camouflage Ring, you can temporarily hide in tall grass and all stealth attacks will deal double damage. The Bastion Ring grants the ability to locate the nearest bastion when you kill piglins. The Space Dissector is probably one of my favorites. You throw a disc that bounces and damages everything in its path. How much damage it deals and how long it stays out is based on the number of bounces. You can also teleport to the disc at any time by shift right-clicking. And finally, another very cool one, the Soul Devourer collects the souls of defeated enemies, increasing the damage that you deal based on the number of souls. If you hold down shift, it'll release all the souls, dealing damage and knocking back everyone around. And this mod is very highly configurable. You can adjust pretty much every single detail of everything added in the config file. Evolved RPG adds new armor, tools, weapons, mobs, and some new game mechanics to Minecraft. Starting with the mobs added, scorpions inflict poison and they drop chitin, scorpion claws, and stingers. Black scorpions are much larger, have more health, and their attacks inflict the wither effect. And they drop, you guessed it, black chitin. There are two versions of desert golems and they drop sandstone and can drop brimstone shards. Dried ones are a desert skeleton variant that drop bows, arrows, bones, leather, and can also drop brimstone shards. Kobold miners are a neutral mob and they can drop ores, cobblestone, and stone pickaxes. Everice crabs drop Everice shards, or you can tame them with Everice gems and ride them. And last but not least, deep crawlers are a centipede-like creature that drops shadestone shards. Moving on from mobs, this mod also adds 3 new ores to the game: brimstone, shadestone, and Everice. All of these can be used to create some new tools, weapons, and armors that have some pretty cool effects. Brimstone armor is a little bit weaker than diamond, but if you're wearing the set, it gives you a healing aura that will heal you and all players within 10 blocks around you for 1 HP every 10 seconds while you're in sunlight. And brimstone tools and weapons restore durability while in sunlight. Shadestone armor and tools are also a little bit weaker than diamond, but they enchant easier. Everice armor in its normal state is a bit weaker than diamond, but it can be buffed with an Everice amulet. If you use an Everice amulet with a full set of Everice armor on, it will give you the frost armor effect for 3 minutes. While this buff is active, Everice armor is better than a full set of netherite, and Everice tools and weapons inflict the freezing effect that reduces enemy attack and movement speed, and this effect lasts longer for each piece of Everice armor that you have on. A full set of chitin armor gives you poison resistance and the weapons poison enemies, and the black chitin armor set gives poison and wither resistance. And finally, this mod adds a few new types of weapons. The Scorpion Claw is a shovel weapon hybrid, hammers are a new melee weapon, and chakrams and spears are new ranged weapons. And that is all the time we have for this episode. I want to thank you guys so much for watching and for sticking around to the very end. And I need to give an extra big thank you to all my Patreon supporters. Their names are up on the screen right now. Thank you guys so much. I hope you all enjoyed this episode. I had a fantastic time making it. If you did enjoy it, you know what to do. Hit that like button down below. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Keep playing, keep having fun. We will see you guys next time.